Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Avalon Beach on Sydney's northern beaches. I got another question over the weekend that I want to share, so I'm going to read the question for you. It says, Ricky, thanks for your coverage on the Google DOJ case. It's been fascinating reading and helped a relative layman stay across what's happening. I'd be curious to understand, though, what the implications of all of this are on YouTube, particularly the ad sales side. Will the breakup and opening of the data black box have a positive impact on the CPMs and general value of YouTube viewership? For context, I'm coming at this from a video publisher standpoint with a background in traditional TV ad sales. The consumer shift to YouTube is undeniable, but the sheer drop off in value when placing content on YouTube is a real issue. Thanks, Tom. All right. So YouTube tends to get less coverage because it's not the hero product within the Google suite. So most people have been focused on search, some of it on the App Store. But Google is a growing Goliath. To Tom's point, it is a very, very fast growing part of the ecosystem of television, taking audiences from television, certainly younger audiences. So that's a really big deal. But it's also driving significant amounts of money now. So you're seeing YouTube now starting to generate $10 to $12 billion a quarter, and is heading up towards that $50 billion a year revenue side. Now, that's significant. That would make it a major broadcaster. And on its current trajectory, it will end up the dominant broadcaster for the next 20 years. So clearly a massive deal. The question specifically relates to, though, what happens to the Google ad stack in the scenario that there's a breakup and that Google's ad tech market is broken open. Now, Google's already lost the antitrust trial, as everyone, I think, probably knows now. And so the question is, what happens next to YouTube's revenues? All right, so part of the remedies that have been proposed to the judge, not yet approved by the judge, but recommended to the judge by the Department of Justice, is that all of the CPMs and the deliveries and the performances of ads on all of Google's platforms are made public, which includes YouTube. Now, if I was Google, I might want to consider spinning YouTube off at this point, and trying to keep it safe for the future. There's no suggestion that's going to happen, though many people have discussed, analysts have said that would seem to be a good idea. Hasn't happened yet, though. So what this basically means is that we will start to get some vision on what the actual traffic and what the actual CPM and what the actual sell through and what the actual click through and who the advertisers are and what they spend and how much they spend and what the CPMs are. All of that becomes publicly available, which would be quite amazing and insightful. Now, I once employed somebody very briefly who came to me from YouTube, and what he told me was really alarming, but also massively insightful. What he said was that when publishers and broadcasters put their content on YouTube, they're promised a revenue share, and that's normally 35 or 40 cents goes to Google, and the rest goes to the publisher. And the publisher is given the opportunity, or the broadcaster is given the opportunity of selling their own ads onto YouTube. Now, that feels like a wondrous deal, doesn't it? Because it saves you a lot of money on the platform and the technology that you're using. But it also means that you can sell the ads and keep the lion's share of the revenue. See, the thing is, though, is that what I was told is that when Google YouTube takes video content from a broadcaster and then puts it on YouTube and the broadcaster sells it, YouTube will say to the broadcaster, I think you'll get $16 or $18 CPM for that, maybe. And then the publisher goes and sells it at that because that's what it's told is the market norm. But what YouTube sales teams do is they go back to the same advertisers and the same agencies with the same video content and say, we're going to optimize and enhance and garnish that with all of our knowledge about who the viewer is and what they've watched before and what we know and everything. And then they sell it not for $16, but for $80. And so what then happens is that the publisher ends up being paid 16 for content that YouTube's selling for 80. And that's because YouTube's obviously got a better sales team and it's got a better, or well, not obviously, but has a better sales team because it has better tools, better products, better data. That data is now seeking to be socialized. So now we get an opportunity where the market starts to level and people can start to sell premium content. So what happens next? We're still quite a long way away. It's not going to happen overnight. YouTube hasn't been talked about much in the remedies case or in the breakup. and we're going to see appeals. So we will find out sometime towards the end of this year what's going to happen to Google data. We're then going to get an insight from that as to what the judge has in mind for the breakup and how much of that information is going to be shared with the world. And then once we know that, then we can start to make a decision about what the future value of advertising is and what we as an industry can do to make the most of it. So the answer isn't completely known yet. The one thing we do know is happening is that there's going to be change. So watch this space and I will cover it, and I'll bring you anything new as soon as I know what it is. All right. Thanks for the question, Tom. Appreciate it.